What's up, everyone? So this is a video that I had promised to make for you guys a while back, hadn't gotten to it. Here goes the story, okay? Arnon Milchan, hardcore guy, hardcore producer guy. He's made many movies. He's the owner of Regency Entertainment. For those of you in the entertainment industry, he doesn't even need an introduction, okay? For example, I have a friend who shoots for a magazine. He shoots and premieres. When I told him that I taught Arnon Milchan private lessons, oh, he's hardcore, he's hardcore. People in the movie industry, they all know who he is. A lot of time, regular people, fanboys, they may not know his name because he doesn't really like, I think, being known. He doesn't really put himself in the spotlight. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Man on Fire, Pretty Woman, Fight Club, the list goes on in the movies that he has made, okay? Now, I'm going to go from the beginning. You guys may be wondering, how was I able to teach someone like him of his caliber, right? Well, it goes like this. It was in Acapulco, Mexico, okay? And I'm going to go to the very beginning, okay? Because the reason why I was able to teach him was because my master was killed by a cartel. And he was teaching in this gym. This is one of the reasons. And I took over his lessons. This is reason number one. Reason number two is the people that were managing this house is called the Warner Brothers house. It's up in the mountains, in the hills, right below the Acapulco cross, okay? Now, there's a house below there. It's called the Warner Brothers house. When Stallone was in Acapulco making Rambo 2, he also stayed there. Many celebrities stayed there. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, the list of celebrities is like this long that has stayed there. And there was a couple running this house. It's Victor Hugo is his name, and Georgina. They were a couple. Victor Hugo recently passed away, and R.I.P. Georgina's still there, I think. But they were running the house for many, many years. And they were best friends with my mom and my dad. So I know this couple. They know me. They see me grow up. They knew me since I was a little baby. Basically, my parents were coming over a lot to this house when they were working. After their work, I would hang out there. I played a lot in this house. Amazing view. So at the place where I was teaching Arnon Milchan, in that grass field, this is where I used to play as a kid. It's kind of where I grew up as well. And Georgina and Victor Hugo used to come to visit us at our house a lot as well. They used to play cards, drink, smoke, you know, the things that adults do. And my dad owned a house in Brisas Guitarrón, in the street Balcones de Luna, número 1, 2, número 3, I think, Balcones de Luna, número 3. And this house was on the side of the road, quite below the mountain where the house was where I was teaching. But Victor Hugo and Georgina, they bought a house right next to my dad's house. So they were also our neighbors on top of everything else, okay? Now, this was when I was a kid growing up. I moved to LA, you know, a long time I wasn't in Mexico. But when I moved back at some point, I was going back and forth. My coach was murdered. He was like a father to me. He was murdered and he was teaching the lessons at this gym. Now, Georgina, Victor Hugo and Georgina, the couple I was just talking about, Georgina used to train at this gym. Now, not only did I take my coach's lessons over, which were kickboxing lessons and taekwondo lessons as black belt classes I took over as well, there was another instructor there besides my coach who quit the kickboxing aerobics class. It's like a Taebo class. I know how to teach that class because I used to teach it in LA. So I also took that class over. So this was a period, guys, when I was very, very, very busy. Like, just for example, right, when at the time, I owned a bar. So I owned a bar and I was teaching. So I was teaching lessons in the morning. Like at 10, 11 in the morning, I had a few lessons. And then I had to open up my bar at early in the morning. So like on a typical day when I was teaching Arnon Milchan, my schedule was like this. I'd get up in the morning, teach my lessons in the morning, private lessons and whatnot. Then I'd go and teach him from like 3 to 6. I used to teach him for 3 hours straight, okay? He was my best student also. For many reasons, the best private students I ever had was Arnon Milchan. And I'll get into that towards the end of the video, so stick to the end of the video to know about this. So I used to teach him like 3 hours long, guys. So from 3 to 6, I'd be teaching him. And after that, I'd go to my bar, open up my bar, get all the stuff I need for my bar. Then I'd go and teach the kickboxing aerobics class, and then I'd teach afterwards the taekwondo class. And sometimes I'd also teach in the morning. I'd teach the kickboxing aerobics class. So I'd be busy all day, all night. My bar would be open till like 5, 6 in the morning, sometimes later. So I hardly got any sleep back in those days when I was teaching Arnon Milchan. Like, I'd be busy all day. I got sick many times because of this. Anyhow, so I was teaching these classes, and then word came around that Arnon Milchan was gonna come, and he got there. And when he got there, and And then when Arnon Milchan got there, he wanted boxing lessons. So he asked Joaquin and Victor Hugo for a boxing instructor that spoke English that could give him private lessons at that house. So then they told him, you know what, we don't know any boxing instructors that speak English. We actually don't even know any boxing instructors, period. But we know a very good kickboxing instructor. He's also a taekwondo instructor. He gives private lessons, regular lessons. He gives Taibo lessons. He gives taekwondo lessons. He competed in MMA, blah, blah, blah. You know, they kind of gave him my background. And he said, okay, you know, bring him. So they approached me at the gym. She approached me at the gym and she's like, yeah, Arturo, you give private lessons out here? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like, well, how much do you charge? And I said, you know, I said 300. And then she's like, okay. And then it was dollars. She made it into dollars. She told me right there, like, it's going to be $300. I was like, I didn't say nothing, but, you know, I meant 300 pesos because that's what I charge. But it's because he's, I mean, I don't know. She set that price for 300. So I was like, okay, whatever, you know. I thought maybe he'd pay her and she'd pay me. I didn't even know how the payment was going to be going, you know. But every time I teach him, guys, it was 3 hours long, right? 300, 100 an hour. He'd give me like 500, 300 tips sometimes. So every time I go and teach him, I'd leave with $500, $600 every time. Very generous guy, very nice guy. So basically, we agree on the price. And then I start teaching him at around 3 p.m. I remember 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you know. And when I keeping them, I knew he was a producer, but I didn't know his background from Israel. Because, I mean, this guy was straight up, he's like the James Bond of Israel from back in the days. He's like the 007 of Israel, basically, this guy. He was a spy, you know. He worked for Mossad, and then he became a movie producer. So it's like, I didn't know, though, the whole Mossad part. I didn't know. I only knew he was a movie producer. And back in those days, I had no social media. I didn't even have I had a laptop that came with the bar, but I was like anti-social media back in those days. I was never on the internet. I just didn't do the whole internet thing. So it's not like I Googled him or nothing. I had no idea of his background or nothing. I only knew he was a movie producer. I didn't even know which movies. I knew absolutely nothing. All I knew is the gym was really talking about it. Like, oh, he's going to teach Arnon Milchan. Oh, this producer, this, that, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, yeah, well, I was excited, but I really didn't know what to expect nor who he was. Now, when I got there, one of the things he told me in the beginning, I got there, you know, introduced each other, nice guy and everything, and you know, we went to the area where we're gonna train. We're stretching out, you know, I'm doing my stretches with him and everything. I'm about to teach him a kickboxing class, and he starts telling me when we're stretching that he made Fight Club, you know, the movie Fight Club, and I was like thinking, of course I know Fight Club. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I know Fight Club. And he's like, have you seen it? I'm like, of course I've seen it, you know. And I love that movie. I was already geeking out when he said that he's the one that made Fight Club. And part of the idea of the movie was his idea. And, you know, he started telling me, like, first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. He started saying the rules, you know. I couldn't help but, like, crack up, you know. So we had a good click right away, me and him. We, like, really got along real well, you know. And, you know, I basically would show him the Dutch kickboxing combos mixed with Taekwondo kicks. This stuff you guys see on my channel is the stuff I'd be teaching him, you know. But this is what amazed me. And this is the reason why Arnon Milchan is my best student who I've ever given private lessons to, okay? Now, here's why. He would train 2 hours with me. So from 3 to about 5, he trained 2 hours straight. I'd already be exhausted by then. Then afterwards, he'd do the kickboxing, the Taibo lesson, together with his wife. His wife, a very nice lady, tennis player, Ananda Wenhammer, if I remember correctly is her name. And a very nice woman, very classy lady. So I would teach both of them. I'd have him facing me, you know. We'd have the Acapulco Bay behind us, so their view will be me and the Acapulco Bay. I'd be facing them and the house. And, you know, a whole hour of jab, 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 knee, knee, kick, kick. A whole hour of that, guys, nonstop in the sun. Yeah, it was rough. And the thing is, like, I'd be more tired than him. And I'm training him. And I was literally more exhausted than him, but I didn't want to come off like a wuss, I would have to say, even though I was 23 years old at the time, guys. 23 years old, almost 24. Okay, so damn, it was like I couldn't believe the amount of stamina he had, and it seemed like nothing to him, you know. And afterwards, he'd like go drink his champagne. He'd sit in the jacuzzi and look through like he'd go through the 8x10s of actors and things like that, and go through his stuff. But you know, it was on a regular basis for about 2 or 3 weeks, more or less, like 2 weeks that I was teaching him, on and off. One day yes, 2 days no, then again one day yes, then again 2 days yes, like this. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I had a bodyguard slash bouncer at my bar, so he'd actually go with me. He'd wait for me outside. He was always with me 24/7 at the time, you know. But yeah, I mean, and then I had a bar. So when I was teaching him, I invited him many times to come to my bar, and eventually he did. He showed up to my bar early one day with his wife and his daughter as well. One day I was teaching him, and his daughter showed up. Her name is Alexandra Milchan. She sort of took over part of the Regency. There's a movie that she actually produced or made, the first one, Street Kings, with Keanu Reeves. I geek out over that movie. I love that movie. That movie came out, you know, way later, after way after I had taught him, like a year, 2 years later, but 3 years, I'm not even sure. But yeah, these are the reasons why he was my best student. You know, I remember when he showed up at my bar. He you know, he didn't show up with bodyguards or nothing. You guys would think, you know, he's a billionaire. He'd show up, hi baby. You think he show up with like you know, a massive amount of bodyguards or something? No, man. He showed up in a Suburban. Victor Hugo was driving, so Georgina's husband, the one that runs the place, he was driving one of the Suburbans that they use for that house, because that house has everything. It has chefs, you guys can imagine. It has cooks, it has cleaning ladies, everything. So they showed up, you know, and I was outside with my bouncer and a friend of my bouncer. So we were with the three of us outside. I had maybe one table inside. But when he got out of the car right away, he wanted to start jabbing me. I wanted to start jabbing him. You know, we said hi. We gave each other the bro hug. You know, and you know, he went inside. They didn't stay long. But the thing is, he didn't have no bodyguards or security personnel with him, at least that I could see. Nothing visible. I even looked around and I'm like thinking, damn, because I would have like government people and certain kind of hardcore people come into my bar. I even had some people that would close down my entire bar for themselves and their party. They would they would pay a lot. They would buy a lot of bottles, but it's like they would have a lot of security personnel with them. And these guys are not billionaires, you know. So I was surprised that there was no one there. I even looked around like, damn, nobody here. I even told my security guard, I look around if there's anybody around, you know, keep an eye out. And they didn't see nothing. I even told them to take a walk and everything and come back. They didn't see nothing on the street. And you know, I hung out with them for a little while. We had one drink, and then quite quickly they left. They didn't stay very long. It's almost like they came, you know, out of politeness, because I invited them so many times to come. And I had like, my bar was like a Western bar from like it was called the Wild Wild West. So I had like a lot of like posters from old movies that he liked, that he liked a lot. We talked about some Western movies. I myself honestly had not seen much of that. My dad helped me set up the bar, so I was not really much into those movies. So we didn't really touch much of topics on this thing. But an amazing guy to be around, guys. Very positive, very driven, very masculine. You know, and a stamina like you can't believe. At 62 years of age, he outdid all the private students that I ever gave lessons to. I mean, I never gave lessons to someone more than an hour and a half. They cannot handle it. Even guys that compete. Like I taught some guys in Acapulco that were state levels, competing at state level. There was one guy who was in the national team. I was teaching this guy at the same time I was teaching Arnon Milchan, and it's like, I'd spar with this kid and everything. You know, yeah, like that kid would not be able to stand those 3 hours like that I do with him in the heat, because my classes I teach at night, like indoors. There's like airco, there's like ventilation. You know, we'll be training outside. You know, his wife be coming out with some spray to spray our legs, because there was mosquitoes everywhere too outside. You know, but he just loved training outdoors. I love that myself as well. So I really enjoy going there every time. You know. Talking to him and you know, and just training him and just being there with him for like 3 hours straight. I really looked forward to it every time, and not only because of the pay was great, and that was a great help as well, you know. But it's not like I really needed the extra money at the time. I mean, I was staying in one of my dad's apartments. My dad actually bought me the bar, so I had a lot of extra money. I didn't really need the money. It was more a lot of fun for me to go teach him, to be honest, you know. And you guys may be wondering, since he's in movies and everything, if I asked him or not if he could help me get into movies. Well, at the time, I was really into my bar. I had like a vision to open up a chain of bars, so I wasn't really focused on YouTube or movies or anything to do with showbiz. Even though I was going on auditions locally and all that, but that was just because I like it and to make extra money. But then to like pursue a movie career, I would have to move back to like Hollywood or LA or the States, you know, and all that. But I did mention it to him. I did tell him, hey, you know, if when I go back to LA, can you maybe get me a movie part, give me a movie role, maybe like a martial art role, or like some kind of part? He's like, oh, of course I can help you with that. No problem. You know, you just talk to Victor Hugo, and you can always get a hold of my people when you're out there. So, you know, I did have that little talk with him. Of course, I'm going to at least mention it, right? But yeah, that was pretty much it, guys, for this video. And thinking if I left anything out. I don't think so, guys. That will be it for this video. To the next video. Catch you later.